Thank you. Oh, let me make a banner. And welcome back to the Rock and Roll channel. I'm on location this week. No, I am not at all in Texas, but that's okay. We're back, me and Steve, and we're here to preview WWE Saturday Night Main Event and all in Texas with a little flavor of Raw from last night, which Steve was just telling me was a good episode. Good go home show. We call it a go home show if it's a Saturday Night Main Event.
Dude, they got so much stuff going on.
They're getting backlash. We can get into that.
It's so crazy. Even at one point, Michael Cole was getting lost because he was plugging so many shows that started at different times on different channels and different platforms. He was just basically trying to tell you, like, hey, you turn on your TV, you're going to see some WWE this weekend.
Yeah, that's been the word now that they've really gone overboard.
Yeah.
It's one thing to run that one show, whatever, but like three. That you're just barely you're throwing together a card. There's only three matches.
God honest truth. I don't know one match on the Great American Bash.
I
don't know when it starts.
We can look it up.
I don't know anything about it. I mean, you tell me somebody that's going to be on the show, I wouldn't even know what is going on at all in that company. Or they're not even a company, whatever they are, like a division. It's just nuts.
And the sad thing is, I noticed I didn't even say let's preview that.
Yeah.
Or Evolution. But it's just, I don't know. When you just put a throwaway show together. What's up, Emerson from Talking Shop fame?
There we go.
Bump and Feed podcast. Emerson's holding it down on the Patreon for us because I'm not there that much. But yeah, so let's get into Raw. Let's do a quick recap of Raw last night. Steve, you take it away, buddy.
It honestly was the night of the Seth Rollins crew. I don't know what these guys' names are. It seems like they're calling Paul Heyman the Oracle now, but they haven't really locked down a name. But they opened up the show with a promo, and then basically they all split up and had three big matches throughout the night. We had Braun Breaker taking on Sami Zayn, which wasn't really a match because as Sami was coming down to the ring, he got attacked by Karrion Kross with a pipe. And then he ended up, still going through with the match. But other than like a moment of offense, it was just Braun Breaker killing a man. We had Bronson Reed going up against Jey Uso in a match where I'm pretty sure Bronson got disqualified, but they called it a win because he hit Uso with a chair and basically took him out. And then the main event came down, Seth Rollins versus Penta. Really, really big match. I really thought that I thought they were going to lose one match, and I was going to be really surprised if Seth was the one who took the fall. They had a really good spot in the match where Penta hit a Mexican Destroyer, and I thought that was going to be the three, but Seth grabbed the rope at the last possible minute and then got the win. But he ended up getting ran off to end the show. They didn't really get to have like a moment of like celebration in the ring because LA Knight came down. I don't even know what LA Knight's finisher is. Knocked Rollins down and then basically ran off to end the show.
Nice. My friend John just chimed in with a funny question. Over under 1 minute until Goldberg is out of breath and needs a rest break. Oh, under. All
day. Gonna be a good match. I guarantee you. I'm not telling you it's definitely not going to be the match of the weekend, but it's going to deserve to be the main event of this show. They were going to give him a special moment of to end his career. I really honestly believe they are.
All right, so let's segue into Saturday main event. Then John did a good job teeing that up for us. Right now, we got three matches, I believe, that have been announced. Let's pull those up. Sorry, guys.
I've got three announced matches. I've got Goldberg versus Gunther, LA Knight versus Seth Rollins, McIntyre versus Orton, which is a real like head scratcher. That's like a 50-50. I don't even think they would let you place a bet on that at Vegas. And then I wrote down two matches that I thought might happen.
Okay.
One being Dom versus AJ. They're doing some really good comedy with AJ Styles. I didn't think it worked the first week with him wearing the Benjamin Franklin glasses, but yeah, the I see you from
I saw
behind.
that last night. That was funny.
That was funny. That
That
was
was
good.
funny.
That
I
match.
used, yeah. I popped on that because I've done that joke a million times.
Oh yeah.
So watching AJ do it and the crowd going nuts for it, I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, it's just, it was well done.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I love that.
I wrote down one more match that I think might happen. Is there has to be something with Karrion Cross and Sami Zayn. Although they said that Sami Zayn was out indefinitely,
And
but
is
I don't
Carrion injured?
know. He's
Okay,
just never wrestles on the show.
gotcha,
Like
gotcha. I think
maybe,
he finally commented on some random person's Instagram post saying, "I'm not hurt."
yeah. I don't know what the heck is going on, but the story is his contract's coming to an end. I mean, they're releasing T-shirts for the guy, which means they think there's money in them. But how are you gonna squeeze
Right.
the lemon to get the juice, man? Like
I like that.
you gotta put the man in some matches if you believe in him. And
Well,
I
there,
don't know. I mean,
uh,
I don't know what they're doing with Carrion other than
mhm,
trying to make people happy by putting him on the show, a lot like Zack Ryder years and years ago when his YouTube show started blowing up.
right. No, that's a good point. They're doing things a little backwards lately.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know the long term plan, so that's why I don't like to say that, but that's what it seems like.
Mm.
Um, Emerson was just saying that Goldberg. I'm assuming Goldberg he's talking about has to be the main event. Absolutely, that's the poster for the match, and it's in Atlanta where he played college ball at University of Georgia,
Mhm.
45 minutes away. So definitely, definitely, poor Gunther has to get that stick and wrestle him. Um, yeah, so then John said it's going to be slower than that. He's lucky that Gunther can work that slow, methodical, pick you apart styles like to perfection.
Okay, when it was like the week before the rematch, Gunther on Raw just walked into Uso's locker room, sat down next to him,
Mhm.
told him that he kind of respected him, and we talked about it a little bit. Like, is there going to be a changing of the guard
Right.
with Gunther? Are they starting to change his character to be a little bit more likable? And I think that's the only ending to this match that we can see is
Mhm.
Gunther has a match with Goldberg. He beats him, but it's a little bit tougher than he thought it was going to be. And more than likely, Gunther will shake Goldberg's hand at the end, leave with the championship, and leave Goldberg to have like a moment in the ring to say goodbye. And I think going forward, we might have a little bit of a different Gunther where he is a little bit likable. I am scared about him going babyface and them turning him into the Big Show where he's just the only way he loses where he messes up and trips over his
Yeah.
own feet because he's so big, stupid stuff like that. But I don't know. Maybe they've done everything that they can think of with the big, bully on the playground Gunther storyline that they can do.
Emerson just posed a good question. Any predictions how long the match is going to be? I'm thinking 15 minutes. With entrances, yeah, I think. Um, I don't want Gunther to become a parody of himself.
Yeah,
That's what I'm afraid of. I think Goldberg is actually one of his. Remember, he made that reference to Bret Hart. No one's talked about
yeah.
when he said, "It's good to meet you." Behind Bill Goldberg, you're one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, or something like that. I don't know how true that was. I don't know if that was just to get a rise out of Bret on
Mm,
TV, but who knows? It has to be. It's the main event. It's what they're selling. Goldberg's last hope, thank God, last match. Um, yeah. I mean, if the what we think is the reason why he's doing the match is the reason, give him his moment. I'm
yeah.
not saying give him his flowers. So I'm not saying that. Um, but if it's to help his son down the line, I think it's cool.
Mhm.
Um, and it's not like he's taking a main event on a SummerSlam or a major show.
Yeah.
That I'd be like, you got to be kidding me. I just don't think it needs to be for a title match.
Mm.
If you had done this no title match, Gunther Goldberg, it would have the same significance as it does now.
If they would have done it like on Saturday night's main event when Jey Uso is the champion,
Yeah,
and
it'd
then
been fine.
and then Gunther gets a win, and it makes sense for him to get in that championship picture to get his rematch. He deserved
Yeah,
it.
yeah. They didn't have to rush it the way they did, but like we said, we don't know what Netflix says behind the scenes.
Hmm.
John, my friend John thinks 5 minutes with entrances. If Goldberg signs on to wrestle Gunther again, it'll be a squash,
Oh,
just like they did with Brock.
I a little part of
Even
me,
though that was Brock's idea.
uh, when they brought Goldberg back without the sit down interview, he just showed up and he was saying that it's his last ride. I was kind of wondering, what if Goldberg beats him and then they have to have his real last match at SummerSlam? I mean,
I yeah. Who knows? I mean, last ride means more than one match.
that's what I thought.
Um, Taker, it was one match, but it wasn't done the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Not his fault. Not anybody's fault. John, 5 minutes of interest. Emerson's bringing the heat. So is John. As always, John. Thank you so much, John. If Goldberg can slow down and still look good, I'm thinking 8 minutes, bell to bell.
Well, you got to think there's only 3 matches on this show. Unless
Announced.
they pull out some old Saturday night main event trick of like putting a wedding or some skits on here. They need some
Oh,
filler. I mean, even if we get Dom versus AJ, even if
we're
we
not getting that. Trust
something
me.
like that, like something's got to fill up this show.
They're
And it's not going to be women's matches because they're taking over the next night.
right. Dom and AJ, they're pushing to SummerSlam.
Mm.
The storyline and the build up has been great. They're not doing it last minute on Friday Night SmackDown. Let's do it. They didn't
I
announce it last night. It's not happening.
I think Saturday night's main event is normally an hour and a half, right?
I didn't. I keep forgetting to watch the last one, but I remember you said it went fast, but it was really on the edge of your seat. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's between an hour and a half and 2 hours. It's like a SmackDown or a Raw.
Uh,
Who knows with Goldberg? It could be drawn out. Um, I'm just not that interested in him being back.
I get that.
Maybe I don't like the guy. But I just hope he doesn't hurt Gunther. I think he should be saying to himself, after what I did to Undertaker, I shouldn't be in a wrestling ring again.
Mm.
Of course, he had excuses for that. So
I
maybe
felt
it's
like when he like put him in the
oh,
ground, I like his head. I mean, it just looked like it caved in. Like it just went all the
yeah,
way.
it
That match was crazy.
was awful.
Mhm.
It was an embarrassment.
Mm.
And fine, that's what Saudi wanted, and it almost was the end of the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I hate saying it like that, but yeah. So I'm not thrilled about that. But that's okay. I get it. They had to put something together fast, and it's just perfect that it's in Atlanta for Goldberg
Mhm.
because it's also where he had his match with Hogan.
Yeah.
You were at right.
Yo, yeah,
You
yeah. I
were
was
there. See, I remember.
when I lived in
Yeah.
Atlanta, I got to go see some good stuff. That was a
Mhm.
hotbed of wrestling
Oh,
right there. Not only did I see Goldberg versus Hogan at Nitro, I got to see the Finger Poke of Doom the next time they rolled through town. So two big moments. The one like one of the highest moments of
yeah.
WCW, and one looked at as one of the lowest.
I know. All right. So I think we touched on Saturday Night Main Event. Anything else Raw wise or
Um, Americano. He made his triumphant return to Monday Night Raw, getting a win over Dragon Lee. That's a really fun storyline. That is like a wink, wink. As long as you're playing along, I think that that's a good storyline. I don't know where it's going. I do hope that it goes long enough that we see Kaiser and Gable fight over who gets to be Americano, or even maybe we see like a doink spot where we see two Americanos. It could be anything.
yeah, that was definitely Ludwig Kaiser last night. That's definitely. But
Oh,
Caesar, what's up, buddy? Just want to say shout out to my friend Caesar. And thank you to everyone joining us tonight. John, Emerson, Caesar. Steve, Emerson's curious, are you from the Atlanta area?
I was born in Sacramento,
Mhm.
and then I moved to live with my mom in Atlanta, and I lived there from about 95. I saw the Braves win the World Series through 2002. So I lived there for 6 years
Okay.
before I moved back here.
So we lived near each other at one time.
There you
When I was
go.
in Tallahassee, it's 4 hours away.
Oh yeah.
C's here working, listening. Thank you, C's, man. Appreciate it. And by the way, I loved your interview with Jessica Blaylock from the Florida Panthers. You crushed it with her, and she was great too. And
That's
she
really
really opened up talking about the team because she works for the team, and she uh, did Caesar's show and just talked about the team and just how special they are. So I really enjoyed it. So great stuff there. All of you, everyone, bringing the heat tonight. Okay, so should we move on to AEW or do we have stuff in WWE we need to cover still? I know
I,
I saw you brought your notes, man.
I just wrote down the
Brought
match.
your playbook.
I don't
Playbook.
remember 'em. I was gonna bring out like admit something. Like
Mhm.
I don't want to say that like I am down on wrestling at all. I want to think that I'm pretty much like a good peak that it's been since riding off of WrestleMania 41. But
Okay.
this weekend of wrestling to me is kind of like overwhelming to the point where like I don't want to say that I don't care about it, but like other than that Goldberg versus Gunther match, there's a lot of stuff I don't really understand. I mean, like All In has like three big
Mhm.
matches, but I have no feelings of watching this show at all. I'm not anti AEW or anything like that. It's just they just haven't grabbed me, and it's not something. There's more stuff on this card that I don't understand
Yeah, and
than
we're gonna
stuff.
talk. We can talk about that.
Yeah,
That's the fun thing. We're not claiming to be experts.
yeah,
We're not busted open here. We're not Sean Ross Sapp. We're just two regular wrestling fans giving their opinions, man. That's why we love the chat because we want to hear other people what they say. John always brings it every week. Emerson's been bringing it. Caesar, welcome.
mhm.
Emerson with a good point here. So I'm way behind on AEW. Is Ambrose? Yeah, Moxley is still the champ. We're gonna get into his match. He's in. I'm not sure if he's main eventing or not. Uh,
I would think he is.
it should be, but who knows if they
Yeah,
want to go with Mercedes and Timeless Tony Storm.
mhm.
Because who knows? And then Wikipedia, when they post the matches, they don't do it based on any
Yeah.
match
It's whoever
order.
types them in, like they were a
Yeah,
little bit spread out.
and sometimes they do it in order of when it's announced.
Yeah,
So sometimes you see number one is like
Hmm.
for the biggest match is like the last match or the earliest match, and then all the way at the bottom is the main event.
yeah.
Yeah, so I got the card right here, buddy. So I'm gonna pull it up for everybody.
All right.
Okay, Timeless Tony Storm versus Mercedes Monet. Timeless Tony Storm, in my opinion, deserves her moment. All her flowers. She's fantastic. Yeah, AEW. Oh, Emerson. AEW gets weird for me. It's hard to follow. I agree because their booking has been so. Tony has lost touch, in my opinion, in long term, which was he was so great in the beginning. He's great for a one off. That's why people like their pay per views better than all their TV
Hmm.
because for one night he can put it together.
Yeah.
At least that's how it's been lately. Um, but week to week TV, it's just the storylines don't seem to. They drop off, they go up, they go. I don't know. We're WWE. We're spoiled. We cruise into it. So yeah. So Timeless Tony Storm. I like that match. I got Mercedes going over because, as my friend John has said, she's becoming like the Hulk Hogan of AEW,
I
and I'm
I
like, ouch! But he kind of has a point.
I didn't even know that Tony Storm was the champion. I thought this was Mercedes Monet taking like a loss here. I thought it was going to be Tony's moment of winning and getting the
Yeah,
championship back. But I didn't even know that she already was the champion.
yeah. But she still deserves her moment going over in that environment,
Hmm.
in my opinion. Okay, Okada wrestling Omega. Yeah, we're gonna get to that, buddy.
Oh,
Um,
I got lots to talk about that one.
yeah, I think what they used to say, Coliseum video, what the world is watching. Um, John Moxley, champion versus Hangman Adam Page. I'm gonna have to do a reprise on this storyline and a certain wrestler here. A Texas Death Match for the AEW World Championship. After the show last week, we missed you last week, by the way, buddy. Um, my friend Omar was talking about Hangman and how he's really turned things around,
Mhm.
in his opinion. And I said, all right. And then I couldn't fall asleep that night and watched a ton of the stuff with Hangman leading up to the match and watched his segment that night where they announced the death the stipulation for that match.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed, really impressed. It's kind of like the Hangman that we need
Yeah.
in the company. No more, not the alcoholic. I'm not here to do cowboy stuff. All that stuff, man. He was like, man, I'm here to fight. And not in the babyface way. Like, man, I'm here to kick your ass. I don't care who you are. I'll clothesline Marina Shafir. I have to beat you, and I'm gonna do it in the way you do it. And the crowd ate it up. And this is a guy who really had lost traction for a while and was off TV for a while. I was really impressed. It made me much more interested in the match.
I
And see, so yeah, you were saying?
I I I wouldn't be surprised if Hangman wins. And at the same part, like I wouldn't be surprised if they just are setting up All Out in Toronto, and
Ooh,
we're gonna get the match that we thought we were gonna get, and Will Ospreay, as long as he's able to win his match later in the night. I mean, it could be the Death Riders ride just a little bit longer. It's only 2 more months.
right. And we always talk, and we don't know contract situations.
Hmm.
Who knows what Moxley's long term plan is? Who knows when his contract's over? Who knows if he's staying or not? A lot of times, booking is, man, we got to pull the title off this guy because he's leaving in a month.
Hmm.
I'm not saying Moxley's leaving. I am not reporting any of that. I'm curious about that.
Hmm.
I would love to see. I think Hangman has earned his moment now, and I've really changed here. I really have, and I would love to see him at All in Texas, the Cowboy, opening up that briefcase and revealing the belt again.
Yeah, I think that's what's hard about having two shows, All In and All Out, both being so close in the
Right,
calendar that we kind of think of All In as being the big show, but for a while, All Out was the big show until they got the name All In back. So, which one is? I, I feel bad saying this, but which one's WrestleMania? You know what I mean? Which one is the bigger show? Which one's Bound for Glory or whatever you
right.
want to say? What is the big show of the year?
I always thought it was All In.
Mhm.
I'm not. Who knows now? But Toronto, because it's in Toronto, I'm going to say that
Mhm.
because Toronto always has an insane crowd. When they did the Forbidden Door there, I mean that crowd was insane.
Yeah.
I'll be curious how the Dallas crowd is. Let's see. Yeah, we talked to John. My friend John has to do his Jericho insult of the week. Uh, leave him alone, John. Okay, let's talk about the next one, man. The one that I think if there's people that are 60-40 on buying the pay per view, this is the match that people say just take my money.
Mhm.
Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega. The winner takes all match to unify the AEW Continental Championship and International Championship into the inaugural AEW United Championship. Here's Tony with all his titles.
That's
Uh,
what doesn't make sense. Is
that
like
part, no.
they're both coming to this match with a title. Then
Right.
they're going to unify the title
Mhm.
with another new title. But at the end of the day, they're not retiring the two titles that they're bringing. They're
Mhm.
just bringing another championship in.
Right.
That makes no sense.
I remember when AEW started, and I understand things change in business and in companies and in society. I get it. But I remember the Bucks saying, man, we only want to have a few titles, and we want to have it where if a title change hands, it means something.
Yeah.
That's gone out the window. Now, like I said, I don't know if TNT gives Tony stuff and say we need more champs. We need more stuff on TV. You're going to have more TV. We need more champs.
Hmm.
You just didn't need to do all this for these two legends having this match.
I How about this? If there's always this rumor Stone Cold wants to come back for one more match. There's always going to be that rumor that The Rock is going to be at WrestleMania. Let's say wild card WrestleMania 42, Austin versus Rock. Doesn't that match sell itself? Like you don't
As I
need
just said,
titles, you don't need nothing. You just need Stone Cold to show up. You need to show Rock up, have Rock show up. That's the way I feel about Omega and Okada. They haven't had a match in years. We're
right.
finally getting what we wanted, and they're over complicating it by adding this and that, and you win this, and it's just I want to know who's better that day. That's
I
all.
agree. I agree. they could easily look at each other and say, I have to wrestle you again. My
Yeah.
career is not complete unless I wrestle you again, and I have to know I can beat you again.
Mm.
No matter what I've done since then. I mean, there's so much you could. And then titles aside, and John makes a good point. He said it's like Oprah. You get a belt. You get a belt. You get a belt. you get a. That's John. That's John, man. He's great. He's so good at those one-liners. Um. So yeah. So I forgot what I was saying. The Don Callis aspect. I get it. That's Kenny's boy. He helped break in Kenny as a 16, 17-year-old kid, and that meant nothing. You didn't need to have Okada join a faction to go against Kenny. They
Mm.
needed to have that one-on-one moment, and Okada needed something like this. So having him do that, it shows he's a lackey again.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. They just those two face to face. That's your "this is awesome" moment, which is a chant that's really got blown out of proportion. But that's your that's it. This is what Kenny probably fought through the diverticulitis so much for to have that one more match with him.
Yeah.
This is what Okada came to AEW for. Yeah, it's because his relationship with the Bucks was so serious. He just couldn't not be with them. But I don't get it. I just don't. They're trying to create their own Paul Heyman with
Mhm.
Don Callis. I agree. I agree. He dresses like him. He acts like him. He's yeah. I don't disagree. Um. So what do you think, man? I think we covered that match.
I think that the only reason why they're having Okada versus I'm sorry, the only reason why I think Okada's gonna win this match is now
Oh,
that he has like 3 belts to drape over his arms when he comes down to the ring. I think they want to recreate like a Wrestle Kingdom like moment. That's why I think Okada's winning this match. It's not because of Callis, not because he's better. I just think that they want to put all those belts on him.
like a new belt collector.
I guess so.
Yeah. I know. I guess so. I don't think Kenny cares about going over. I think
Oh,
he just wants to have his. He wants to have a classic match.
yeah, like how he wrestled in Japan against Gabe Kidd a few months before
Mhm.
he came
Right.
back to AEW. He just wanted to make sure he was ready to go
Right.
for something like this.
Right. I'm curious how long this match is because still Kenny's not. Listen, Kenny at 80% is better than the average person at 140%.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think Okada needs this victory a lot more than Kenny does.
Hmm.
Okay, so men's casino match for a future world championship. I think they're still working on that with MJF.
I think
Mystico.
MJF's going to win that, and I
Me
think
too.
that's going to be the first thing that starts to break up his whole crew with Lashley and MVP and all of them. Is they don't want him outshining them. I think that's going to be what happens if he wins that thing.
I completely agree there. Women's casino match for a future. Do you know who's in? You don't know that one?
I
We'll
don't know.
skip that. Good. I didn't really feel like talking about that one anyway.
I'll take Megan
Swerve
Payne.
Strickland and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. If Ospreay and Strickland lose, they cannot challenge for AEW World Championship.
This match, this match is worse than the Okada Omega belt collection. Like what even the how they put it together didn't make any sense. Like would
Yep, the Cody rule. My friend
why
John
would
made it
Strickland and Osprey
so
come
true.
to the party and say, "Hey, we won't challenge for a year, but you guys can't be EVPs." But I don't even know how you take that away from them. Like, does that mean they don't have EVP power where they can't book the show?
On TV,
Yeah, like
they have to be regular people
and why do the Young Bucks care? They're tag team wrestlers. If they've wrestled any singles matches, they've never been a singles match that
because they're
mattered
trying to bury them. They're
in
trying
the
to bury
long.
them. Right, they're trying to bury them. It's not about them.
It's
They're
their
here,
company. They make money when the company makes money. Put your
but they
two
don't. No,
best
it's not about that. They're heels. They don't want these two baby faces to be the champs of their company.
matches.
It's the Vince McMahon. Not you, Austin. Anybody but Austin. That's how they're doing it there. I get it. They don't like them, so they don't want them being champs of their company.
Yeah.
Um, it's a weird stipulation, and I'm also curious where they put that match on the card because it's. Not, I don't want to say it's weird, but it's a major stipulation, and if you're putting that like first or second match of the night, like, what are you saying there?
Hmm.
Next match, Adam Cole, the champion, TNT champion versus Kyle Fletcher. I think Fletcher's an up and coming star.
I think he is too. How
I
far
think
they pushed him, like it. Kyle, he was a star before he got there. We knew who he was.
right.
I mean, like he came in, he was in like some tag team matches and things like that. Kyle Fletcher might be one of the first stars that they've made on their own.
Mhm.
That's what I think.
My friend John made a good point about the Cody rule. Remember he did that with Jericho,
Oh yeah,
which
I mean,
really screwed up Cody's time in AEW.
mhm,
I'd like to think they learned from that.
mhm,
Um, I have always never understood with the Bucks, and I know I'm going back to a different
mhm,
match, why they don't ever. Tony doesn't like being on TV, I guess, but I thought that would have been a cool moment for Tony to come out
mm,
and say, "Enough with what you two were doing. This is not why I had you be EVPs. If you
mm.
can't beat these two guys, I'm done with you guys as EVPs. But if you guys, it would have been better if Tony put that match together."
But even if the Bucks lose and they lose their EVP power, I can see them not being EVPs for 6 months. And much like a Ric Flair retirement, all of a sudden, one day when they need it, they just say that Tony's not at the show and he's left them in control. Like, hey,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
go crazy, but you guys got to run it tonight.
And then he takes the truck over,
Yeah.
Nitro style. Uh, you think my friend John thinks Tony is socially awkward? I agree. But that being said, it would have, since the fact he doesn't do it often, it would have made significance. And it's arguably your biggest show of the year.
Yeah.
I agree with you, John. There, 100%.
Tony
Okay.
came out and
Oh,
made a
sorry.
major announcement on Dynamite. Another major announcement. And then put
Uh,
the match
and
together.
they're always pre-recorded segments
Yeah.
for like we're gonna have two women wrestle each other next week on Dynamite. It's nothing like Bully was like, I don't get why it's not live, and Jericho's like, oh, Tony prefers the recorded so he can get it. I don't know. I agree. He'll announce another faction. Uh, Lastly, the Hurt Syndicate: Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin versus Jet Speed, Kelvin Knight, and Speedball Mike Bailey versus the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, and that's the 900 major announcement he's had. That's so true, John. It's so true. John and I always joke. We'll be like, I got something to tell you. Yeah, but it's a Tony Khan major announcement news. Yeah. So, have you noticed now after 5, 6 years, like stuff that we I don't want to say tolerated in the beginning, but we loved about somebody,
Yeah.
we can't stand now. Okay. So this match, I got the Hurt Syndicate. I think that group is rolling. I think they're going to start to resent eventually MVP and all the attention he's given to MJF.
No. My biggest question is when I was watching AEW probably months ago, I want to say this was before WrestleMania, so we're probably talking like April. One of the major storylines that they were running was Edge and FTR. And then they set up a storyline where FTR finally turned on Edge because they
Right.
weren't winning. And I thought that we were working towards Edge and Christian versus FTR. Like, is Edge hurt again? Like, I haven't heard anything about him being hurt. Like, why is Edge not on this show? If Edge isn't on the show, why is FTR not in this
I thought he
match?
got hurt. Didn't he get hurt?
I haven't heard he got hurt, but I
But
mean,
Tony loves to just say sit on the sidelines for 6, 8 months and then
this
I
is
could do it.
your biggest show of the year.
I
Like,
didn't say he was right for it. He loves surprise returns at his shows.
oh,
Like I went to All In last year in London, and I knew, man, I'm gonna see 2 or 3 surprises tonight.
uh,
I just knew in my head, and I hadn't even been really watching the product. I got Ricochet, I got Sting, and I got Nigel McGuinness
there you go.
in a match, and I'm probably missing some. Uh, yeah, Tony's big on the big surprise, but as someone who's been in the company and they like are out for 5 or 6 months, Edge has already had 2 like big debuts there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Edge Adam Copeland. Sorry. So I agree with you there. You know what? I know I've been critical of AEW, but I really hope they have a good go home show tomorrow night. Like I want them to start succeeding. The
Yeah,
fans on the internet, and that's what 1% of wrestling fans, and Twitter is not completely real life. I am the first to admit that. Really are like siding with AEW this weekend. They just think WWE really is like gone overboard in counter programming.
yeah. I don't even know how do they go to NBC and say, "Hey, our our rival company is running a show, and we would love 2 hours on prime time on a Saturday, and then we also want to run a live show on Peacock." I don't think it's that easy.
Steve, what day of the month is it?
It's
Not what day. What day? What month is it?
it's July 12th,
It's July. Yeah,
Saturday.
a quiet time of the year with no sports
Mm,
of the big four. Man, they are desperate for programming.
mm,
They probably went to them and said, "Please, can you do something?
uh,
You'll get us ratings because wrestling's 12 months a year."
yeah.
I don't know if they can do that so easily in the fall, or even though I think they have enough stroke. But so I think, yeah, being in July, they were able to call their shot there.
Mm.
Absolutely. All right, so we covered Raw. We've covered. Uh, oh God. Um, we covered All in Texas, where I think they're going to do something tomorrow night, or at the least Collision. People forget, everyone's like it's 3-on-1 as far as programming, but they're also running uh, three shows in Dallas that weekend. They're doing the Ring of Honor show. They're doing a Collision. So it's a whole weekend of stuff there.
I think WWE is running house shows as well,
Oh,
trying
they
to
really?
pull away. Yeah, I think Cody's wrestling on the show.
Oh my God! Eh, You know what? Counter programming has been around since the 80s, 70s, 80s, like 90s, even before that. Probably. I don't mind it,
Yeah,
but if you're going to overdo it, it looks like you're desperate. And WWE doesn't have to be desperate.
yeah.
That's the thing. What I'm trying to say is, all right. So we covered all that. Went a lot faster than I planned on. Because remember Mania, we went through it match by match, and we also did predictions there. We're not doing that
Mm.
here. Like if I don't watch the product a ton, I'm not going to really go out of my way to say who I think's going to win. I think I'm being ignorant then. All right. So anything in your mind wrestling wise?
What about
You
good old Evolution?
let's talk about. I didn't put their card up.
I'll tell you the truth.
Please, thank you.
I don't think I don't want to skip it because I don't want to seem like I'm like anti women's wrestling. But I will say that honestly, I'm not a fan of watching a 3 hour show of women's
Is
wrestling.
it going to be
I
three
hope that I'm
hours?
allowed to say that in this year. But
You are.
I don't
You
know.
can say it's not for me. I don't care.
I'll watch a women's match on Raw. I like Rhea Ripley. Here I am, like saying, like, hey, I got women friends, but like, I mean,
I like women.
I like some, but this card,
Uh,
I don't even know
a
what
big
card.
moment. My I'm sorry. My friend John just gave me my first ever super chat.
Oh, whoa, bing, bing.
Wow. Thank you, John. Man, seriously, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate that, man. Did not have to do that, man. Just your support of the channel is all I can ask for. But thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm sorry, Steve, you were saying?
But I don't know what card they could put together. I mean, I think that Rhea Ripley's gonna win the title against EO. I think that's the big moment that they're going for. Um, Other than that, it's just gonna be a wrestling show. I'm thinking that maybe something will happen with Naomi, Trish, and Tiffany Stratton. But
Yeah, I like Tiffany.
other than that,
Yeah.
not sure. I mean, maybe you see like a return in that battle royal, but it doesn't look like a great show to me. And I'll tell you the truth, like it's gonna take nothing being on TV for me to turn that thing on Sunday.
I want you to be brutally honest on this show.
Yeah.
I go for that. I want if that's how you feel, please talk like thank you. What? All right, John. This is getting crazy.
It's gonna help pay for that subscription
I know.
StreamYard, so we appreciate it. Keeps us going.
Yeah, thank you, John. Seriously, I know we're all friends or anything, but you really didn't have to. Thank you, though, man. I appreciate it. Really, wow. I just sent him a text like saying thank you, and I'm like, he's like, oh, I'll show him. But what? Okay, the first evolution, whether you liked it or not, it had significance. It was to, have a special moment.
It was
This one,
actually exclamation point on the women's revolution. But I mean, it's been 8 years, I think, since the last one. They now have their own Royal Rumble. They have their
Mhm.
own Money in the Bank match. I
Right.
think that besides there being more men's matches than women's matches on a normal show, I think it's almost equal across the board. I mean, it's as close as it could be. So I mean, them trying to emphasize that the women need their own show doesn't make.
No, it was just a counter program. It was not to have any women's significance this time.
But what are they trying to do? Just not people travel to Atlanta rather than go to Arlington because it's
Yes.
the next night. Because I mean, like AEW, I don't think is running a TV show on Sunday.
No, they're not.
No.
It's all just counter programming.
Mm,
That's why I think they went overboard.
mm,
If they had done a solid Saturday Night Main Event to go against it, that's all you need.
mm,
Um, pretty wet. But yeah, so that's just my opinion on it. It's just it's not any significance. You would have been better off just doing another show
mm,
or just doing an NXT and a Saturday Night Main Event.
mm.
Because if you're counter programming your WWE and you have the money to do, man, we're giving you Saturday Night Main Event. We're giving you Great American Bash. You don't have to pluck $50 for AEW.
Yeah. I mean, this is
And
why we
fans are always happy for a reason to not pluck down $50. It's human nature.
it's why we have the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble was originally a USA special to fight against people buying, I think, Bunkhouse Stampede or something like that back in the NWA days.
And WCW and WA used to do Clash of Champions on the day of WrestleMania
Yeah, there you go.
on TBS. So I remember I never got the WrestleMania, so I would watch Clash of Champions, and I enjoyed it. Like, so I think we covered, man. Anything I'm missing?
Ah, nothing
Anybody's still in the
much.
chat and wants to talk about something? That's fine. I think we just wanted to give a little, that we're not ignoring these weekends events.
The two things I want to emphasize
Please.
from the very beginning of Raw, which I don't think mean anything today, but they're going to mean something maybe in a week, maybe in a month, maybe even a year. The very beginning of Raw, I guess the two monsters, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, got in the ring with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman.
Mhm.
And as Heyman was handing the mic to Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker grabbed it. And he took the mic and he went to the front of the ring, standing in front of everybody, gave a little bit of a promo talking about how he's going to be the face of the company for 2 decades. Are they starting to show us that Braun might not need Seth Rollins? And maybe there's going to be some shifting
Yeah.
of this group. And even a little bit of it came up in their segment in the back with Seth trying to calm Braun Breaker down, but Braun didn't want people thinking that he needed carrying cross to fight his fight.
Right.
And then for the second week in a row, Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman can't shut up about Roman Reigns. Like, when do you think Roman comes back?
Me,
I don't think
SummerSlam.
it makes sense for Saturday.
No, SummerSlam.
So is he going to come back during like a Punk versus Rollins main event of night
I think he has to. I mean, look at how he trended and the reaction he got last year when he came back.
I just wonder if
Oh,
he's.
I think it only makes sense there.
Are
It's
we
in New
just
York,
setting
in
up?
New Jersey. Yeah.
Are we just setting up a WrestleMania rematch, and we're gonna see Punk, Roman, and Rollins in a
No,
three-way
if
again?
if you like, I would get it that. All right, last year it was in Cleveland. No offense to Cleveland, it's not New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
If you bring back Roman earlier, that means you can get him on the card, and you have him for media leading up to the show.
Mm-hmm.
You have him working the. I mean, of course, you got Cena and Cody, and they're beasts on the media trail. But you get Roman also in New York, and you need all your guns out in New York, media wise. So that's the only reason that the fact that it's in New York makes me think he's going to come back before SummerSlam now for a match there.
But I wonder how how does he cut the like? We already had LA Knight cut in front of CM Punk for Saturday night's main event.
Mhm.
Punk told them to get in line, which made me think that Punk
Right.
was coming out during the Saturday night's main event match. Now you think Roman is going to cut in front of Punk again and get a match at SummerSlam? And what's Punk going to do? Punk's not just going to sit down and take it.
No, he's not. I think you have to finish Punk and Rollins at some point. But it's actually been really good, and you don't want it to end.
Yeah, I think that they're going to fight forever.
I think so at this point. I think it's gone on longer than they planned it,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is good in wrestling. Sometimes you go adjust. Roman has to get revenge on Paul Heyman still.
Mm-hmm. And we're also getting late in the year. It's July. If Roman comes back and has his first match back at SummerSlam, that's August. Is Roman and Cena on the card, or are they going to keep them separated this
Yeah,
year? I
yeah,
mean, that's a big dream match.
yeah.
We've got it twice, and Roman's won both of them. And
Okay, I got a scenario for you. I
hmm
thought about today and told a friend, and I said I'm gonna bring it up on the show tonight.
hmm
And maybe I'm foreshadowing too much. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but you know what? I always say let's have some fun here. Oh, John, breaking news! You might have man, John, you're too good to me. Take his ball and go home again. Okay, so what I was thinking was okay, and I'm going off rumors and possibilities.
hmm
Nothing more, nothing less. So the rumor is, and we've talked about this before, Chris Jericho's deal ends in December with AEW. I
uh-huh.
don't know if he's re-signed or not. I don't know if he's going to re-sign. I don't know if he's going to show up at All In this week. I don't know. That being said, if it ends in December and a certain wrestler has his last match in December, that certain wrestler being John Cena, who was his first pay-per-view match with ever?
It was against Chris Jericho at shoot, I can't remember what card it was, but I remember it.
So there you go. Talk about a full circle moment.
hmm
And it was Jericho that told Vince, no, he has to go over. Like this kid has something.
Yeah.
So I think that would be really cool, man. I'm not saying he has to leave AEW. If somebody says he should stay there, that's fine. I'm just saying I think it would be cool. I think he needs to have his last run in WWE. I think he needs to be in the Hall of Fame there.
That's
Whether it means a lot to him or nothing or not, I don't know, but I think he deserves it.
if Jericho wants to have his last match and he has an end date of when he's done, I could see him leaving and coming back for that one. But as long as he thinks he can wrestle 3 to 4 times a year, if even that, I see Tony wanting to repay him and keep him on as long as
Mm,
he wants to be
yeah.
there.
I mean, there's been a few times he probably was close to leaving, and Tony just threw a bag at him.
hmm
Um, yeah, I don't know if Jericho. I mean, Jericho might say, "Look at the storylines you put me in lately."
Yeah.
Um, I think he's got okay. The reason he loved the AW idea was he was getting to do different things and work with different people.
hmm
Well, now he's worked with everybody in AEW. WWE, there's fresh meat on the bone for him there, or stuff he can circle back to from 10, 15 years ago. That's like feels new again. That's why I think that makes sense for him. It'd be something new, and they would let him be himself if he doesn't want to do the list, if he doesn't want to do that. He might have some tributes to that. That's why I think it makes sense now.
I love you, Jericho. I want you to know that if you ever hear this before I say what I'm about to say,
He's in the chat, just so you know.
if
He's in the chat. Just kidding.
Jericho goes back to WWE, I honestly hope it's only for one match. When a legend gets traded, like just think about like Patrick Ewing on the Magic or Patrick Ewing on the Sonics. Like there's a
Yeah, I know.
and like you always think like oh my team got this guy but you're thinking about what he was like 10 years ago, not like what he's like today.
Right.
I mean they're wrestling a lot less, honestly, but I just don't think Jericho would hold up for a year in
No, I'm not saying that. 3, 4 matches
yeah
and go and right off into the sunset.
yeah but
If that's where his head's at.
There's no doubt in my mind there's going to be a
He has
time
not talked
where
wrestling
in
in a
the
while.
WWE, and I'm not saying that he's gonna tear down the walls of the AEW versus WWE war. I could see him going into the WWE Hall of Fame while he's still in AEW when they need a name.
He should. I don't think Tony would allow it.
And
I don't. Maybe
they'll
for him, you make that special exception because of who he is and what he's
yeah.
done for you. Um, but I think it's getting bitter between the two companies.
Mm.
And to let your top guy, who's your favorite wrestler of all time, that you've said, do that, I don't know.
Watch AEW create their own Hall of Fame and put him in a lot like TNA did with Sting
Yeah.
back in the day.
No, Tony let Billy Gunn in, John. And that's true. That was before AEW was on TV. And that's before it got really, really nasty.
And Triple H took a shot at him at
And took a shot on TV.
when he was on the stage.
Right. And between all his counter programming, between that, there's 5 or 6 other examples. He would not go for that. I don't think he wouldn't let Sting do the Hall of Fame this year for Luger.
That was crazy.
So
I honestly really thought it was gonna happen
I
until
did
the
too.
last
I did
minute.
too.
Even if it was just a cameo appearance, that makes no
And he
sense.
was in town. Like
Right.
that's why it was like, wow. I mean, not saying that would have stopped him, but I'm saying like, wow. But man, that's all I got, man. I just wanted to throw that scenario out at the end.
I like
Anything you
it.
got? Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna do that more often. We're gonna throw out scenarios, and I don't know. I got some ideas. Like, for example, like we'll do some other time. Your top 5 matches of all time that you were at.
Oh,
Stuff where people get to know us even more,
I
and
got
then people in the chat can say wrestling memories they've had. We're not here to be reporters and analysts and break down the show. Segment 2 was great. No, man, we're just 2 regular people who love wrestling, just like every great person here in the chat, and we want to hear your wrestling stories as well.
let's go.
Let's go.
I want to thank you for last week. Last week was on me.
Love it.
I let Jeremy know that I wasn't going to be here. I know that we've done it. We've done them. We did one on a Sunday once. We did a Tuesday. We've
Yeah,
done,
you've worked around my schedule a million times, man. Don't
and
even.
I
Yeah.
just want people to realize, like I bring it up in my videos, like you come here once a week. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna do a live stream. We're gonna talk some wrestling. So they get used to you. They get used to me. They get used to our banter. And I felt bad, but at the same time, my mom, who lives in your neck of the woods out there in Florida, is here. And I didn't want to look at my mom and be like, I'm gonna go talk about wrestling for about an
No,
hour.
I insisted. I insisted because you were talking about maybe I can sneak out. I said, no, like you're not. Like people understand if we're not here a week or 2 weeks. Like people
Yeah.
understand. Um, End of story. And you've worked around my stuff. My anytime I traveled, anytime I was like, I'm going to a Panther game. Like there was always, yeah. Trust me, that was the first time where you said I might have a scheduling conflict.
Oh,
Where don't even, man. That's that. Please, and I insisted that you family first, man. End the story. But man, John's guess wrestling moment. Okay, so I know this story, and that's why he posts. I can tell it. Chop heard the around the world in the Miami parking lot WrestleMania 28 in Miami, which you were at. So that was the weekend I met John. His friend was friends with one friend of mine, and we ended up all hanging out, and we were tailgating outside the building. And one of his friends just randomly says, I think I'm ready to be chopped right now. And my friend John's about 6'3", huge guy, and loves to like be physical with people. So John said, I'll do it. And I wish I had had my a phone then that I could record this. And he goes, okay. And everyone's saying, are you crazy? Like, he's going to hurt you. And John like knows what he's doing. And John just lays into this. There was no ladder chop that night at WrestleMania 28 and the one that took place in the parking lot that night, man. There was no. That's why he always jokes me, you want to chop? No. Maybe one of these days, but no.
no thanks, especially if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. But Steve, man, thank you so much for coming on again. It's you're not a guest. I hope you know that on the show.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
look forward to this. every week.
Me,
Like
me
this is
too. Me
awesome.
too. It's therapeutic, man. So I want, and then people in the chat, man. If you just want to vent and talk about wrestling stuff or whatever, we're here for that too, man.
You let me get that off my chest about 2 matches on the AEW that made no sense to me. All those stupid belts and the EVP power on the line. Like that makes no sense.
My friend John's gonna send you a Buccaneers hat.
Uh
He's got like 30. Yeah, dude, that's what we're here for, man. That's what we're here for, man. We try to do things a little different. And I was telling Steve last time, I'm gonna try to make it a little more interactive on the screen and do things to make it more fun for everybody.
yeah.
Steve, anything you want to say in closing, man? I always appreciate it, man.
It's all good. Now that you got that StreamYard membership. I mean,
For
now
now,
that
for now, yeah.
we
Try to
can't
make it better.
we can't put video on the screen. They'll take us down as fast as we put it up. But
Yeah.
it will be fun to sort of work some other things in. It's cool to yeah,
Mhm.
you put the card up on the screen. It makes it a little bit easier for us to follow.
Yeah, we're old. We need to see it better. But no, and I'll do that. Like Steve might send me a list of his 5 favorite matches that he was at
Yeah.
ever, or 5 or 10, and I'll post that on the screen so people can see that. If people want to send me theirs, I'll post theirs. Like we're gonna make it fun. We're gonna, and then we're gonna talk sometimes, Steve, and we'll come up with brainstorm ideas for to just make the show as good as possible for everybody.
The one thing I always wish I could do was steal from PTI and have like on my video like the little list of topics on the side, and even if you
I
had to like press
know.
the
I don't
button,
even know how to do that.
you don't know why
Oh,
I've wanted to do that for
me
however
too.
long I've been making videos, 15
Yeah.
years.
I'm gonna talk to my friend John or Caesar or somebody. Like
Mhm.
they are really good with that stuff, and I'm like every time I think I'm good with technology, I see current stuff on YouTube, and I go, "Oh my god, I'm so glad I can just hit the go live button."
I remember how hard it was for me to get in here the first time we did one of those,
Oh yeah, yeah, that was so funny.
and then I
No, the
came
second
back
time, the second time,
and I used the old link
that was the thing. The
in last
second time,
show.
the second time you were like, "Are you here?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, I thought it was the same link for every show." That was so funny, man. I forgot about that. But Steve, thank you again. Everybody in the chat who participated, Sean, thank you for the chat and the super chats as well, man. That was beyond kind of you. Uh, for me and Steve, we're gonna have to come up with a name for the show sometime.
I'll take that.
All right, man. All right, so take care. Thank you. More stuff to come.